Hello and welcome to Your Unique Career Personality Blueprint. We're in week 2. We are discussing the key to your success today, which is your unique decision-making strategy. So it's an internal process that makes just the proper and correct decision-making for you versus what other people are doing, which is usually how we make decisions, but it's not in our best interest to do that because, as we'll see, there's so many different kinds of ways which we make decisions, and it's going to be crucial for you to know what yours is and how you can um, understand it in the times which we are entering in. Um, I'd like to just share a little bit about this call for you to rise into your leadership, which I believe that as we're going into this era and this age of the individual, we're called into this sovereignty of being a sovereign leader, which is essentially like you don't have to have permission to step into this. You already have this amazing divine design blueprint, which is almost as if it's a revelation. There's this veil being lifted, and you are seeing really who you are in your energetic blueprint. And there's a lot of people that have quote unquote blueprints, but it's not actual blueprints. Your design is literally your blueprint for going forth and conquering as in your unique design. And so it's very thrilling to to see this, but understanding it is really an identity shift into not just I'm going to say, for example, play the guitar. I'm going to be a guitarist. And so being a guitarist is an identity shift, but playing the guitar, you could try it once, you're not actually a guitarist. In the book Atomic Habits, he talks about what we do repeatedly, we associate with an identity. And so you really owning your unique design and stepping into that is really an identity shift into your your divinity and your sovereign leadership of like how you're individually designed as an individual as we step into the age and the era of the individual, moving away from tribe mentality, which we can feel, we can see the breakdown of the structures of society all around us. And as we move into this era, it's really essential that we step into who are we as individuals in our individual leadership, and using this information wisely, sharing it with others, because you have been entrusted with a revelation. It's not a theory, it's not a trend, it's a divine blueprint literally written into your DNA for your leadership, your survival, your legacy, and the new era. Um, it's your instruction manual, essentially. People kind of, you've heard them say, we don't have an instruction manual. We do. We have an instructional manual, but it's like, how do we decode this and understand it and apply it and live it versus having it be something that we learned? It's more about walking it out, living it out. And I've been studying this since 2020, and it's been a process of really deconditioning, of unlearning, of letting go, of um, stepping out of the comfort zone of what used to be comfortable, but finding a new level of comfort in this new way of being, which is so natural. And it's beautiful to be able to be yourself when we're so conditioned to try and do herd mentality and what everyone else is doing, what everyone thinks we should do, their thoughts and feelings about our life. And we've kind of been so conditioned to just people please and think about what other people think about us and what we're going to do and all of that. And if we can just kind of be still and come back into our own and really understand what our own is, we can be ourselves we say, be you, beautiful, beautiful. And so you're the builders and the restorers and the innovators of this new world. You're the fulfillment of a vision that's been waiting to be born. And as we're entering into this time that's essentially been prophesied from long ago, and it's this new era where these old systems, they're collapsing, and conformity is, it's no longer, we can't conform anymore. This way of being, this herd mentality is, it's no longer we're not no longer operating from that frequency, I guess you could say. Conformity is no longer protected. And so 2027 is the official date when this kind of new background frequency in physics, it's kind of a term in physics where we are understanding the frequencies, the unseen frequencies in the world that we live in. And I think it was Nikola Tesla that said, if you want to understand the world and the universe and the mechanics of how things operate, understand frequency and vibration and energy. And it's really what we're talking about. The codons of your DNA, the energy, the frequency, the invisible blueprint and how it affects you is what we're talking about. So we're crossing into this new era of leadership where as you pioneer and you step forth, you get to be authentic to who you are. And it's just like Noah and his time. The times we're in are described like the days of Noah. And we're warned, we're being prepared. We're preparing our ark, not in the world systems, which we can see are breaking down and changing for our very eyes. And AI is artificial takedown of like deep fake. And it can be a little rattling to question and guess what is happening. And you get to anchor yourself not in the world system, but in God's blueprint for you. And this flood isn't of water, but it's of change and uncertainty and chaos and breakdown of this old system. And your arc is your design. You get to really understand your design and be, this identity of like really you. And so what we discussed of this new era that's starting in 2027, which started in 1615, it goes till about 2027 in February. And it's these 4 frequencies, which kind of create a cross. Every 400 years, the cross changes the background frequency in physics. This whole system was created by a physicist. It changes. And so we're going into this energy of power. So pure energy to act in divine timing, not from force, but from alignment with God's spirit moving through you. And then there's presence. So these have numbers to them. So gate 34 or frequency 34 or codon 34 in your DNA. 34, 20, 55, 59. These are 4 specific frequencies. And I'm not necessarily a math person, but when you get down to the universe and frequencies and laws and universal laws, there are numbers behind it. There's frequencies behind it. And so there's 4. The 34 is power. The 20 is presence. So you're being called into this energy of now, of like living it now, not waiting, not planning anymore. The time of planning is kind of wrapping up. We've got another 1.5 years of really dialing it in. And then we're going into now, leading by embodied example, not empty promises, but your presence, and instantaneous impact, really, in the moment. The frequency of 55 is the spirit of abundance through spirit. And yeah, we're entering into this age of, I guess you could say, divine faith in the midst of the storm, faith and joy and divine provision in the midst of the storm, and really just enjoying this process of becoming who you're designed to be. I see you, Roman. Nice to see you. Hi. Yeah. And then gate 59 is intimacy and connection, which is dissolving barriers and building real trust, deep bonds, and authentic connection. And leadership that's not necessarily domination, it's co-creation with transparency and intimacy and this sharing of spirit. So you have literally been chosen for such a time as this, as it says in the Book of Esther. This is your time to step up and rise up, and permission's been granted. The future you've been looking for, your purpose that you've been looking for, it is here. And you are the change. You are this sovereign leader, and this is your awakening, and you're designed for this hour. So we're gonna, this is here to empower you to lead boldly, wholly, sovereignly, and for your future and the future of those who you're designed to impact. And so that's a little bit of not so much a recap, but we did talk about this this shift in the first series, in the first webinar. So I'm gonna share my screen. And we're gonna see my screen. So your unique career personality blueprint. And so this was a little bit about the times that we're in, the planning era versus the individuality era. And we're moving really into this of using of our unique gifts, self-empowerment, personal transformation, contemplation, abundance of spirit, trusting your gut, and breaking down barriers to bonds with others. So it's not how others do it, it's how you do it, understanding how you do it, and not how others think you should do it. We went through the career types, the initiator, the builder, the express builder, and the advisor, and the very rare evaluator. Those are kind of like how you're designed. And if you'd like to see more about that, then go into the first week. And then this week, we're going to go through your personal interaction style, and then your decision-making strategy, and then your public role, which is essentially how you're designed to be in the public. Your personal interaction style is your correct way of engaging with the world, with people, opportunities, business deals, partnerships, clients, even creative ideas. It's your strategy. It's your strategic operating system for life and leadership. It is very specific to your original design, your blueprint for success, your fulfillment, your sustainability in your business. And so when you move in alignment with this strategic style, you experience flow and recognition and the right timing. Opportunities come to you, you have lasting success. But when you act against it, if you force something, chase something, initiate something incorrectly for your style, or try to follow someone else's path, you encounter resistance, frustration, and unnecessary struggle. So in the new era of leadership, especially as we move closer to the 2027 shift, it's no longer enough to just work harder or try to figure things out mentally, like in your mind, by yourself, just like, I'm going to figure this out. No, engage strategically by your design, not by default. And so this is really something that you get to live by. There's 4 personal interaction styles. The classic builders, the express builders, they respond before engaging. Advisors, like myself, we wait for recognition and invitation. Innovators inform first, then act, and evaluators wait for the right environment. So for innovators, innovators are the people who are initiating things. They are starting things. They're kind of the pioneers. And when you're starting something, you're initiating something, when you inform somebody about what you're going to do, you just make everything smoother. You're independent and you operate best by yourself. And when you do things without informing other people, it can be a little bit too shocking or something. People can feel steamrolled over, or like you're insensitive. So instead, to move efficiently without resistance, you inform people who are going to be affected by it before you act. And it doesn't mean you're asking for permission. You're just kind of doing them a favor, being kind, and you're communicating. It's powerful communication. And so it clears the path for a smoother action, and sort of a statement for you is to inform those impacted before taking action. So you get to become very good at informing, communicating, sending texts, emails, making calls, tapping people on the shoulder, and giving them a little notification. Hey, I'm doing this. For builders, responding before engaging is how you interact. So you're not designed to initiate or push. Your power is in responding to what life brings you, whether it's people, opportunities, ideas, tasks, and then engaging from this sort of internal yes or no. And then you respond, and then the action comes after, not before. So you respond to what shows up before engaging energy. Builders are very magnetic people. And so you attract a lot of things, and then you're going to have opportunities, and then it's your role to respond to those opportunities if it's right for you. For advisors, it's waiting for recognition and invitation. So we are not here to chase opportunities as advisors. The power comes when others recognize their insight and wisdom and invite them into the correct environments, conversations, and roles. So when we push our ideas or insights or knowledge or what we want to do without recognition, we get exhausted, we get bitter. And so waiting for recognition and invitation before engaging is the way to do it. Waiting to be recognized. So, there's a picture of this guy just like waiting at the airport. And it can feel like that. It can feel like, what am I waiting for? But it can also be a preparation process. Evaluators are waiting for the right environment. They're highly sensitive to environments. Their strengths are in assessing and reflecting the health of the group and a system. So they must wait. to find this correct environment where they feel deeply right before committing or engaging. So wait for the right environment to reflect and engage. If you'd like to say anything about any of this, Roman, if you'd like to chime in, if you have any kind of comments or anything like that, feel free to kind of chime in. We're going to go to the next section.
Okay, sounds good. I'm just but still like blown away by all of it. So
Blown away.
yeah.
Fabulous. And it's helpful to, isn't it helpful to see how other people do things so we're not pushing our way of doing things on other people?
One second, I'm getting a call. What was that? Sorry. What was that?
I said, isn't it interesting to see how other people's do things, how the other types do things? So
Um,
we're respecting how they make decisions, and they can respect how we do it.
yeah, like my daughter, she's a um express builder. So I get a lot more I make a lot more progress with her asking her questions and talking and so she responds in a yes or no. Like she opens up and she's more cheerful, she's more engaging. She doesn't feel like she's being attacked or her mind's trying to be changed.
Mhm.
Um, and that's relatively new. Like I haven't really started like incorporating all this within the last since like the last month. So it's been a very interesting shift in the household for sure.
Amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
really good for relationships.
Yeah.
Start to understand how to talk to people and their language. It's almost like their love language, but we're not saying love language as we're talking about just sheer energetics of how people operate.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still learning to like read people or get a feel for them like when I'm like at work or at places. But I know that will come as I get more educated on it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so your decision making strategy and inner authority is so essential. It's literally the key to unlocking your entire design. So this next section, pay close attention because the key to your life is knowing and trusting yourself to make the right decision at the right time. And it's your inner compass that you're given to navigate life and leadership and business correctly. And it's how you know when something's truly right for you beyond other people's pressure, what they're trying to do for you, sell for you, give you, your own fear, your own overthinking, especially your own second guessing, which I'll share a little bit about like when I second guessed myself. Um, but when you honor your decision strategy, you align with divine timing, right opportunities, natural success. And when you ignore it, you are going to meet resistance, frustration. There's going to be detours, problems, business deals, bad business deals, deals going sour. Um, and learning to trust your strategy is the master skill for sovereign leadership in this era ahead. As a side note, I have this splenic, intuitive inner authority as an advisor where I will make a decision in the moment, and my decisions come very, very quick, very intuitive, very fast, and then they're gone. And so I have had intuitive hits, or maybe they weren't intuitive hits, but I was just excited in the moment. And afterward, I realized I said yes too fast without really feeling what was right and correct for me. And so I've realized like, okay, that's not the right thing. And then it would take courage to speak up and say, I spoke too soon. Sorry. And so because I haven't said that and spoken up and said that when I spoke too soon, oh, I have gotten myself into some some situations, problems, we could say. And it's all a learning opportunity. And then this, this could show you essentially how you can, navigate moving forward. But usually what we do is we use our mind for decision making. Your mind is not here for decision making. And this is how we're used to doing things, is using our mind to make a decision. It's like, is this right for me or not? And it's not about that, the mind, because the mind is this big scrambled thing, and there's actually energy and gates and codons in our mind that are literally the codons of confusion. And before we have clarity, we usually go through confusion. And then there's another codon in our brain that says, after we make a decision, there's confusion. So if we can get out of our brain and get into our own strategy, we don't have to deal with that. Your mind is going to throw you off track with ideas of what it thinks you should do. It will second guess your true decision-making strategy. Like when I knew 5 years before I did Master Prac that it was the right thing for me, and I waited 5 years to step into what I knew I was being called into, but I thought myself out of it. I second guessed it. I logically talked myself out of it. I talked myself out of it because of the money, because I would have to be, creative with getting the money. And so I waited. 5 years went by. Because I second guessed myself. We can get anxious and believe that we should go out and make it happen. Unaligned energy or action, essentially. And it can cause you to act in ways that lead to bitterness and waste a lot of time and energy, and put on blinders, preventing you from hearing recognition and invitations.
We're still talking about strategy.
Yeah, your decision-making strategy.
Okay, mine's to inform, right? That's initiative.
Yeah, so your personal interaction style is to inform first and then act as an initiator. And then your decision-making strategy, like how you make decisions, I believe you are an emotional initiator. Is that what it says on your chart?
Yeah, I was getting those two confused. That's where I'm kind of like running in. I've always ran into problems in my life because I'm supposed to wait for clarity and not act on the highs or lows. So it's interesting, like where life's gonna go when I learn to make decisions on a flat line versus.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't like waiting. I mean, like I initiate, I just move quick and go. So it's like a complete contradiction of things. But okay.
Yeah, and so sorry about that. I put the 2, 2, 3. So anyway, that's supposed to be a 1, a 2, and 3. There's 3 types of initiators. So emotional initiator is what Roman was talking about. So emotional initiators wait for emotional clarity and then inform. So they're waiting to be moved for emotional stability and emotional clarity, and then inform before initiating action. So initiators are going with these key indicators of peace or anger if they're on the wrong track. And they can be very angry because the rest of the world isn't moving as fast as the initiator. So the initiator is like way ahead of us. They're like pioneers. They don't need to ask for permission from anyone. They're just like, once they have the idea, and they just go for it. But in order to really move forward, they have so many emotions to work through. And Roman and I have done some deeper work with mental emotional release, or MER, which releases negative emotions stored in the subconscious. And it's very important to release all these negative emotions to then have emotional clarity and then move forward with the stability without all these emotions in the way. So it's kind of a theme of anytime you're making a decision, moving forward with something, wait. So for you, Roman, as an initiator, it's really good for you to meditate, even if you just start 5 minutes a day, practice
Mhm.
settling yourself, going into the inner peace, like having inner peace,
Yeah.
practicing peace, practicing breath work, peace, relaxing, just sitting in the presence of God,
Yeah.
waiting, letting your emotions settle, letting
Mm.
maybe even just headphones. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's gotten better since our MER coaching. But I just like I've lived my whole life ignoring emotions. It was never really I never come from like an emotionally intelligent dynamic of family on both sides. And it's helpful, but I just kind of feel like just my body is in this habitual habit of ignore the emotion and produce. Ignore the emotion and produce. So it's like having to reconstruct and like the brain and just the physicality of it. Like I felt like before, I do it a lot less before our MER coaching, but there was a point a year ago I kind of realized like wow I get angry to get that surge of cortisol and stress and gets my heart going
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I was taught and raised and shown to produce a result. And then as my transformation continues to expand and grow, is that's why when I started the calls, I'm just blown away because I'm having to really like debug and uninstall everything that I accepted to run my life, thinking that it was gonna pan out. Um, so I'm just like kind of like in a like a little odd space right now, but I got great support. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's a really good word is debugging. It's we're upgrading our operating system. We are debugging. We're
Yeah.
we have in neuro linguistic programming, we're programmed a certain way, and we're removing the old programming by we see the new programming. We see our actually like our design, and so we get to like release the old and really embrace how we were designed to operate, which it's so freeing.
Yeah, I was talking with a friend. She was talking about how she was going through. I forgot the website, but there's this woman that talks about deregulating the brain because our just we get in this habitual habit. It's like a constant. It's like a how do you put it? It's like it's such a learned behavior that it might take time. I know MER helps like diminish that. I also have another cousin that he does this kind of therapy. It's called alignment therapy, where like the nervous system has two types of operating system. It's fight or flight, and then the opposite. And um, like you can go to a chiropractor, they do it too. They like tap certain nerves or stuff, and um, it's just funny always hearing about it, never thinking anything of it. But now, like going through this design and learning my design, I'm like, wow, like it's always funny how those types of learnings and those types of things were in my life before I didn't pay attention, and like I I'm hearing them again. I'm like, wow, those are things I really need to like learn and take on. So it's just been like a whole like life flip. I'm still in like a weird spot with like, wow, this is what's that word I'm looking for? Like a weird like
Um,
in the middle of
you're
like
almost like you're in a tunnel,
yeah.
and guys go through various different phases, than different than what women go through. Women and
Mm,
this is off subject, but men go through kind of these four phases where they're just adventuring for a while, and then they go into this sort of like prince stage. There's a beginning, middle, and end prince, and then there's king. And beginner prince is they're looking for like what you're gonna do with your life. Middle is like you're just building head down, and then you emerge as this kind of prince who's developed this amazing thing, and then you're looking for your partner or your queen, and then you go on to king status where your opinion and is just like law, and you're the king. But in a transition from this end prince or to king is this tunnel, and it's almost like men go through this tunnel where you literally question everything. You wake up one day and you're like, what have I done with my life? And every guy goes through it. And we as society don't understand it necessarily. And we call it midlife crisis. I mean,
Yeah.
I actually think that Justin Bieber, if we're talking about celebrities, I think he might be going through this tunnel where he's built this whole life around this thing. And then he got really sick from, we know what happened. He got this sickness because he got the thing. And then he's had to stop doing touring. And now he's like in this like crisis. And everyone's like, what the heck is wrong with Justin? But we all go through a tunnel when we're in a transition from where we are, when we're not where we want to be, and we're like excited about it, but we're not excited about it because we're just like dealing with all these emotions and the fears and blah, blah, blah. But like we see kind of like the promised land ahead, and yet we're not there yet. And so we're in this tunnel space, and there is a tunnel, and it's really where our faith gets activated because we are supposed to walk by faith, and we know that, and we believe that, and we know about placebo effects. When we believe something, it happens, but we can get so complacent and just comfortable in this life that we know is not what we're designed to do. And yet we live it for so much extra long. It's almost like the bad relationship we stay in for extra years, even though we know that this isn't what we want, and we stay in it because it's like so much more comfortable than like having to go through the breakup process and like whatever that takes, move our stuff,
Dissolution.
you know? And so like we can do the same thing in our lives and our careers and our businesses.
Mm.
And you know, and then yeah, so but we all go through the tunnel. And so, you know, and there's so many emotions, but then God is really stirring us up and stirring up our faith. Like, are you going to actually live by faith? And so our faith is tested, and it comes out like gold from the fire, but our faith is tested, and it will be really tested at some point, and we've got to keep the faith. But God never fails us. He never has and never will. So it's kind of like Indiana Jones stepping out from the lion's head. There is an invisible rock that will catch us. I just
Mm.
love that scene. That's one of my favorite scenes.
Uh, yeah, tunnel or not, it just man, it's like just just like realize like wow, I can't believe I listened and followed all those that came before me, and then just yeah, it's just ready to like design something new because none of it's not going to work for me in the future doing what I'm doing. So
Yeah, I mean, we get to that point where like, oh, the problem is that you know we see what we're doing isn't what we want to be doing. It's not how we're designed. It's like you're in a 9 to 5 and you're an initiator, which is like not designed for 9 to 5. And you're like, oh, you know, it's kind of you know, and there's a transition period. There's a tunnel for you to walk through. It's like you actually now see that you're not designed in a certain way and why you're uncomfortable and um but you know it's good, you know, like the lights are on now, you know, like we're waking
real,
up, we're and this is the era of the and this term is so strange for me. I don't understand it, the cross of the sleeping phoenix, but we're all literally asleep to our design. The majority of people, they don't know, they don't have the revelation of their design. And people, like when I talk to people about this, they're like, oh yeah, I've done the Enneagram. Like, no, this is no Enneagram. This is no Myers-Briggs. This is literally your entire life and your DNA mapped out for you.
yeah,
Um, so the next one is the builder. The builder's decision-making strategy is they're designed to respond before engaging. And they have these decision-making strategies of either a gut builder, which is to wait to respond and then follow your gut and respond to what shows up. And then trusting your gut sacral yes or no, a response before engaging. So it's really a feeling that's they have to wait to. It's all those people that say, let me think about it. We've all know those people. And they're like, let me think about it. So this is like probably, I don't know, 65, 70% of the population, they have to think about it. They literally have to think about it. Emotional builders wait to respond and then wait for emotional clarity. So they're more emotional clarity versus a gut response. So they need more the emotional builders need more to allow these emotional waves to settle before they commit to something. And then the advisors have 5 specific decision-making strategies. And oh, there's an AI assistant there. Okay, hide for this session. Everything's got AI built into it now. My CRM has like an AI picture that comes up, which is pretty strange. Anyway, AI is like literally taking over. Another reason why it's so essential for us to really step into our style. Maureen has joined us. Hi, Maureen. Nice to have you. We were just talking about builders' decision-making strategy. Would you like to share anything about your strategy? Are you a gut builder or are you an emotional builder?
No, I'm a gut builder.
You're a gut builder?
But yeah, I have to, I don't always ask yes or no questions and go by my gut, but that's what I feel best doing.
Mm-hmm. And so would you share what it's like when you know, like when you wait to respond and then follow your gut and respond to what shows up? Would you share like a time when you had a success with that, or like just a simple example of when you followed your gut or when you waited to respond, or how that works for you as a gut builder?
The biggest thing that I've noticed in that is not so much the waiting part, but responding to things. So rather than beginning something, it's like, even as mundane as I see dishes in the sink at my son's house, I will clean them up and put them in the dishwasher because I'm responding to that. And in the past, I would get all perturbed and annoyed at them for having a messy sink. But a manifester and a projector do things differently, and they're both emotional. So, it's like, okay, I just do it now. It doesn't bother me anymore. And I'm responding to that. So I'm more in tune with responding to things in general.
And how long does it take you approximately, like if you have like a business deal or something like that and you wait and then follow your gut, about how long does it take you?
Oh, that's shortening. So now what I do is, if it's somebody that I may not want to work with, I give them a very high price. And then most of the time it scares them away. And if they want to pay it, I'll deal with it. So
That's funny. I was reading Alex Hermosi did that, and he like didn't want to work with this guy, and he's like he like imagined like the most biggest number he could think of. He's like $6,000, and the guy's like done. And he was like, what?
right. Yeah, no, I sent a proposal to somebody, but I haven't heard back anything. So, but I have if I've worked with somebody or done something and it's like that I didn't listen to my gut, it's like, I should have listened to myself,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm learning. Yeah. I'm still learning.
We all are, and a lot of times we learn through the mistakes that we make.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And I was sharing in the beginning of the call how, well, I didn't share specifically, but when I moved out to Florida, I had a friend who wanted to move out with me. And at first I was like, yeah, like excited. And then the more we talked and more time went on, like she wasn't helping to find a place. She was out of the country. She wasn't responding. She wasn't looking. She was like, it would take days to get back. And I just really felt like I need to do this on my own. And like, I felt like in my instinct, it was like, okay, I said yes, but I now know that it wasn't the right thing, and I needed to tell her that. And so it's actually sometimes if we give the wrong response, or we give a response and then we have to like cycle back and be like, oh, actually, and that can be hard, but it's way easier to just speak up for ourselves and correct ourselves than continuing to move forward in the bad business deal or in a business deal when we know, okay, course correct. So sometimes we need to course correct along the way.
Right.
If we speak too soon, so to speak. So, for me as an advisor, I'm an instinctive advisor. So I will get these gut instincts, but sometimes people can force me, or they'll override me, or their energy will be kind of like steering me in a direction of what they want. And I can, because I want it to, and I want it to work, I can I can be swayed in a direction I'm not supposed to go in. And then when I get by myself again, I can just be like, oh, okay, my instinct is actually saying is that I was just excited and I've got to speak up for myself now and be courageous and say, hey. So when I realized that I needed to say, hey, I'm going to go forward and find my own place. Because I was like waiting for her. She wasn't responding. Like it was just this whole thing. Like, and I found the perfect place, but I couldn't get in touch with her. And then it was, it's just like a mess. So, and it was frustrating. So sometimes we need to come back to our own when we speak too soon. So the advisor decision-making strategy is generally to wait for the recognition and invitation. We need to be seen for our advising skills and then invited in. So it takes a lot of waiting, but in that waiting, we're not just waiting, we're actually preparing. And for me, I'm a 5-1, so I'm a researcher. So I'm doing a lot of researching. And then the strategies are, there's an emotional advisor that waits for recognition and invitation, and then they wait for clarity. And then they're letting their emotional settle for true clarity. There's the instinctive advisor. So we follow our instinctive knowing, and it's getting these like really quick hits. So it's trusting these immediate bodily instincts for timing and direction. And the reason why it's this immediate thing is because it's here and it's gone. So I get an instinctive hit and then it's gone. It doesn't come back. So it's learning to like actually be present in the moment, to recognize it. And then we're recognizing invitations and trusting our instincts. So I have this splenic instinctive, but again, it's being aware and not being overridden by people with their more overpowering energy or what they want from me or what they think is best for me. Willful advisors follow willful determination. They make decisions based on true will and heart commitment. Waiting for recognition, invitation, and then trusting willful determination. Self-advisors, they are listening to what they say. They're noticing their own spoken words for internal truth, and then waiting for recognition and invitation, and then listening to what they say to themselves. Mental advisors listen to what you say mentally, and then talk with trusted allies. Clarity comes from dialogue, not from overthinking in their head, but from dialogue, and then not internal decisions. Waiting for recognition and invitation, and then listening to what you say. So again, for advisors, it's waiting for recognition, waiting for invitation, waiting. And so a lot of the waiting can be, feel like a test. Like there could be long lulls of time when nothing is going on. And the evaluator is this unique person that must literally wait. They have to wait for the right environment as their personal interaction style, and their decision-making strategy is to wait a full moon cycle or 28 days, however you want to say it. to experience different perspectives before making major decisions. And this isn't like what we're having for dinner tonight. This is like, should I enroll in this program or go on this trip? Allow this time to reflect, assess, and discuss while waiting for an inner knowing. Yes, my dear. Hello, puppy. All right, next we're going into the public role. So your public role has a conscious side and an unconscious side. So on the right side of your chart in the black is going to be the conscious and the red is going to be the unconscious. So depending on which one you have, you're going to be conscious and unconscious about it. Line 1 is authority investigator. So they're constantly researching, getting to the bottom of things. Line 2 is the natural and the hermit. So they're just natural at it. They're just naturally like that. They're not trying. They're just kind of just what comes naturally to them. Line 3 is the pioneer. Trial and error. That's where the martyr comes from. They're just trying things they've never done before. And they learn through the experience. They have to have the experience. They can't hear from someone else. Actually, don't go down that street because there's a dead end. And they're like, oh, let me see for myself. I'm like, oh, you're right. There's a dead end. I'm like, okay, I told you so. It's like, oh, I wanted to see for myself. The messenger, sorry, the influencer is line 4, which is influencer and opportunist. 5 is the messenger or the heretic. It's a very projected line where people think of them as kind of like they're going to come and save the day. All the hopes and dreams of society are on line 5, which Ra Uru Hu, the founder of this system, said that. And then line 6 is the leader and role model. So which one are you, Roman? You're the
4 and 6.
4, 6. Okay. So your 4 is in the conscious and then your 6 is on the unconscious. And then Maureen, I believe you're a 2-4.
Yes.
2-4. Okay. So your 2 is going to be on the conscious and then the 4 is going to be more subconscious. So you're not so much aware of the second line. So Roman, you're not so much aware of the 6, just kind of like something you're doing in your body. And for you, Maureen, it's the 4, you're not so aware of it that you're an influencer. So for me, I'm a 5-1. So line 1 for me is unconscious. So that I am an authority investigator. It's always just been kind of natural for me to read the Bible and read and research more and read more. And, you know, like if there's one thing I collect books. I have hundreds and hundreds of books. I love researching, but it's what makes me an authority is I actually can become the authority figure on some things. I've done so much research on it. We are craving a solid foundation and seeking depth and mastery to feel secure before acting. It's kind of why I have gone through so much preparation before I've actually brought this information out. I really wanted to have a solid grasp on it before teaching it. And before coming back out after kind of my hermit years after 2020 to make everything sort of tangible. We lead through expertise. We become an authority figure by deeply understanding a subject. We build trust through knowledge. Others naturally lean on line 1s for informed guidance. Line 1s are motivated by curiosity and investigation, fuels our sense of purpose and authority. We're reluctant to act prematurely, so we need to feel well prepared before stepping into leadership. And then we can fear exposure. Without enough information, we can hesitate to assert our authority. And then drawing recognition through preparedness. So when we're solid, then we can magnetize invitations and opportunities and be recognized for who we are. And then we want reliable structures. So we thrive on when we can create systems based on research. And then seeking internal certainty first. External validation follows when internal certainty is achieved. And then we set the stage for others. The mastery often becomes the foundation others stand on. And so as a public role, this is kind of how we are out in the public. Like this is our career. It's sort of founded on this role. And so, you know, the basis of what I do and what I teach is on this line 1, which is constantly researching, bringing more and more information that I then lead with as the 5, which is the messenger. So I do the research and then I bring it with the 5, which is the messenger. So I'm researching it and then bringing it all together in the message, which you can see is what I'm doing. I'm bringing the message, but I've done all the research. and this is a mix of the BG5, the Gene Keys, and all the human design. So it's kind of synthesizing all of it to make it plain day language, so that you can bring this into your business and monetize it. Yeah, because none of it made sense until BG5 came along, and I was like, it's like, oh, it's business professional. Like, I can jive with that. So the next line 2, is the natural hermit. So you're just a natural. You're gifted without trying, talented in ways you can't explain. It just flows. This is Maureen. You're a natural. So you lead by being. Your naturalness inspires others without force. You need solitude to thrive. That's kind of like the hermit vibe. Creative power and energy recharging in alone time. Like I have a friend who lives in the outskirts of Arizona, Phoenix, Tucson, somewhere in like the mountains, and she just loves to be alone with her 2 dogs. She's a total hermit. But she's also an influencer. I think she's a 2/4. So she's on Instagram and Facebook every day, but she's alone in her home all by herself. Hundreds of thousands of followers, but she's alone with her 2 dogs. You are drawn out by others, so your gifts become visible when others recognize and call you out. You dislike forced performance, so you must feel aligned and ready to share your gift authentically. You thrive when you're allowed freedom. You need space to follow your energy and rhythms. You're a true innovator. You're a pioneer with new ways to naturally and simply do what feels right. You impact with authenticity. Your pure expression creates influence without effort. You work best in short bursts. So retreat, create, emerge, not this steady, predictable cycle. And you feel seen when honored, and recognition must come with respect for your true nature. Does that sound about right, Maureen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. And then next is the pioneer and martyr. And so these people can, really develop a sense of humor, because they're doing a lot of trial and error. It's just, especially if they have like a 3-5 or 3-1 in their main profile, it's just a lot of trial and error. And mistakes are stepping stones. They're not failures. It's part of the process. You're this courageous explorer willing to venture into the unknown territory first. You lead through resilience, models what's possible by bouncing back stronger. Your influence grows through experience, becoming the trusted voice because you've lived it. You initiate innovation, and you refine and upgrade systems by testing what doesn't work. You are authentic in imperfection, and others trust you because you don't pretend to be flawless. You take the hits for others. Your trials make the path easier for those who follow. And then you thrive when embracing chaos. Growth comes through dynamic hands-on experience. You pioneer new paradigms. Your lessons are often birthing brand new ways of thinking or living. And you are a story-driven teacher, inspiring by sharing real, gritty, relatable journeys. Line 4. Line 4 is the influencer, the opportunist. So I believe this is you, Roman. You're the 4. It's your main one. That's your conscious. Your conscious, I believe, is your first one. Yeah.
Okay. Force conscious.
Yeah. This is conscious. So you are built for relationships, trust, friendship, community to create your success. You influence through connections, and your network is your most powerful asset. You're naturally persuasive, and you can communicate ideas in ways that move people effortlessly. And then opportunities arise for you from trust, and life shifts based on who you know and how well. Your success grows organically by nurturing authentic bonds. Success flows to you. You speak directly to your circle. You're a powerful messenger to those already connected. You're a master networker. You know instinctively how to gather the right people together. Your authenticity wins. Disingenuousness breaks your influence, so you must stay real. You're designed for symbiotic success, and this rise helps others rise too. Your rise helps others rise too. And your visibility creates opportunity. So the more people know you, the more doors open. So you're a networker, essentially. This is like how you do it, the networking. Influencer, opportunists. It's in your network. Would you like to say anything about
Okay.
that? What is like to kind
No, I
of
was still.
step into that?
Yeah, just that's again. This is where life flips because this doesn't describe me at all. You know, but as I journal more
That
and
your
as I like,
the current job and career that you have, you're not
oh,
actually doing.
it's like I'm just in that tunnel, right? Like I just feel like it's wow. Okay, I'm gonna say this on a live feed. You know, it just life just seems very unworkable right now, because of just like where I work. Like, yeah, it's just in my family. I just see things that life could be potentially relatively very, very simple to fix and get over. It's just, it's just ego based and righteousness that, just tumbles any kind of build. And I didn't know anything. They were my family. I love them, friends and stuff. But I just learning the design just tells me like, okay, now I need to go find and discover, create, and build something new. And that's been kind of like confronting because I grew up in a family structure where family's everything, And I'm not saying I'm not going to abandon them or shut the door, but I just thought that they would be there to build, and they would want out of and create new situations. Um, so I was just kind of in this like stalemate until I got reintroduced to human design. Like that's something like now is like a big transition. I'm like in this like cloud of just stuff, just waiting for this like planet to form, and then I give birth to myself newly. As like my soul coming out. Because
Yes, you're re-emerging. You're
yeah,
re-emerging
yeah. So
into
I'm just
the
in
you
this like
you always
cocoon.
wanted to be, you knew you could be.
Yeah, I'm just like in a very uncomfortable place right now in life, but I know I'm like shredding and reshaping and reconsidering like my life routine. So it's coming together, but like right now,
Yeah.
it's like to hear that, like, oh, it's interesting because
Mhm.
that's not how I was influenced to be raised. That's not how I was raised to be. I was raised to be a worker, do my job, and shut up, be seen, not heard. So to be an influencer, role model type of design, it's like, a lot of opportunity and a lot of like rewiring and reprogramming and debugging is going on right now.
Yeah. And if you're since you're an influencer and opportunist, what I'll say is like it would be good if you kind of like did an audit of your Facebook profile, your Facebook
No.
picture, deleted old pictures, deleted stuff, put a new picture, a professional picture of yourself, kind of, just like look at yourself online and say, like, do I look like the leader I want to be? Do I look like an influencer? Do I look like someone I would want to follow for an influencer? And
Mm.
maybe just update your profile photo, put a new post up there. Just share kind of an updated photo. And yeah, I mean, I think that could be something for you, uh, like coming out as this new influencer opportunist. It's really going to be your network, connecting with your people. So
Yeah.
your online network, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn profile. I don't know what other networks you're on, but just updating your photo, updating your headline, putting a new post out there, something like that would be something like fresh for you.
Yeah. And I'm working and building on it. There's a lot of decluttering and reshaping and going through a lot of digital and physical accumulation over the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, yeah, it's coming.
Awesome. Okay. We'll go on to the next. All right. So the messenger is the line 5. So this is the line of like the speaking and sound. And messengers, we carry these universal solutions. And I'm a 5-1. So 5 is my consciousness, and it's like my conscious public profile. So I am designed to, as a line 5, to deliver practical answers to collective problems. And so my research, by being a 1, I'm researching and then I'm making the information very practical. So it's useful. You can apply it to your life. So it's not just like fluff, but you're actually doing something with this, reinventing, recreating, restructuring your life based on your design, which, as Roman shared, it's like we're raised in these environments where we're so conditioned to be everything that we're not. And it's not just your story, Roman. It's like everybody has this story of like, I was raised in this family where it was not this democratic environment. Like, we couldn't speak up. I was muted. Like, for me to hear that I'm a messenger from somebody who was always so afraid to open my mouth because I thought that I was going to say something at the wrong time and everyone was going to like make fun of me. I always felt like I was like a second off in life, like 1 second too late or too soon to say something. And it's like, oh, I'm a messenger, really? So leadership is projected on us. Others look to us to save them or solve their problems, and which we can do, but if we don't actually deliver, then we kind of destroy our reputation. So line 5 has a radical voice, so it introduces disruptive ideas that change systems or mindsets, which is kind of like where the heretic comes from. The idea of like disrupting the norm. And then we also bridge the gap, which makes complex ideas accessible to the masses. It's polarizing by nature, so not everyone will agree, but that's part of the power. It's also about managing expectations, and there needs to be discernment of which projections to accept. And then, so for example, on that, which projections to accept. So my friend that wanted to move out with me, she wanted to get sober and live a healthy lifestyle. And because I'm very healthy, I do a lot of cleanses and juice cleanses and vegan cleanses. And she wanted me to like help her. So she kind of projected on me that if she lived with me, that I could kind of save her and get her sober. And that wasn't the case. Like, she came out and she was not sober. She was anything but. She promised to come out and be sober, and then she was basically drinking every day, morning, noon, and night, sleeping till late afternoon and not unpacking, and it was a problem. So I should have realized, like, okay, that's a projection that I'm going to save her. I'm not going to with an active alcoholic addict. I'm not going to accept that I'm going to be the one to get her sober and help her get healthy. Lead by challenging norms, paves new paths by refusing to fit traditional molds. Built for visibility, must step into the public eye to fulfill their role. Impact amplifies through scale. Their work often reaches many, not just a few. Authentic when aligned. Most powerful when sharing solutions aligned with their truth, not trying to please. And then Maureen, I think you were what did you say? You were the 2-4. So is there anything you want to share about the 4 before we move on? I didn't check in with you, but if there's anything you want to share, go ahead.
I love putting people together.
As the influencer, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, just, somebody needs something. Oh, I know somebody that does that. I'll connect you, and I connect them. And so I just love doing that.
Yeah, that's the networker. That's the networker in you.
Yep.
Beautiful. Okay, great. And then line 6 is kind of like on the top of it all. And you are overlooking everything, and you're the leader and the role model. So Roman, this is your unconscious profile, public profile. And a line 6, anywhere you have a line 6 in your chart, there's going to be 3 distinct phases of it: trial and error phase, healing and observing, and then wisdom embodiment. So when it's in your actual overall public role, you're going to experience this kind of like as a theme throughout your life. Trial and error goes until about 30 to 50 is healing and observing. Wisdom and embodiment, fully applying everything, is 50 approximately and beyond. Leads by living example. Their life becomes the beacon for others. Wisdom comes with maturity. Influence deepens with age and experience. Stabilizing presence. Others instinctively trust them as a steady, grounded force. The line 6 plays a mentorship role, so naturally attracting others seeking guidance and truth. You're built for longevity. Your leadership is not loud or fast. It's timeless and lasting. Authenticity attracts. People follow their being, not their words alone. Draws trust naturally. Leadership is not grabbed. It's offered through alignment. Embodied authority. Leadership is expressed simply by who they are, not what they do. And you're a catalyst for global change. Your lived example often shifts collective paradigms over time. Is there anything you'd like to say about this as your unconscious public role?
Yeah. I mean, this one, I can kind of see how I can apply like my past to helping people. Like I used to be an addict, and then I did some development, and I just was focused on my future and being a powerful father, and that's just how I relate it to myself, regardless of any external forces. And it just completely altered my life. Like most people wouldn't even have guessed. My family doesn't. They're still shocked that I went down that path. And they always like, oh, can you talk to so and so? They're having issues. And I can help. Sometimes I just remember being in that world. Like Tony Robbins, or you bring up God a lot. So like, it's just like when you're addicted, and depending like what your mental dialogue is around it, there's really not much anyone can really say or do. You know, you got to want to get out. But kind of like you reading that, and then the influencer, like, I mean, I could see that being. I mean, I have the experience, you know, and it's not even like so much just with drugs. It's just if anyone's like ever like wanting to ever change anything and alter anything in their life, it's just, you know, it's nothing personal, but maybe seek help with releasing that. But it's always focusing on where you're heading. You know, I had to stop. I had to get out of my environment. I had to stop thinking about resentment I had with parents and friends in the past. I had to just stay focused on what my goal was, and that's what contributed to my sobriety. And I want to change it for the world. I mean, I have my daughter today. You know, me and her have a great life, and but I can embody that. I can live into that. I'm currently doing it, and it's simple.
That's really great. And you know, when you talk about your daughter, I mean, I really, what I see is that this is where you're really embodying that. You are the role model for your daughter, and the identity of being a powerful father. You know, you shared with me personally that it was that identity, that identity shift, which moved you into this new life, and you never went back to drugs. You quit smoking in a day, and it was the new identity that you adopted, which is essentially how I started this call, was talking about the identity that we're stepping into of being sovereign leaders who step out into this new identity because we see who we are. We have the permission, we have the revelation. We don't have to guess. We can actually like embody it, and be brave and courageous, and you know, have the faith in this identity, because we see who we are. And it's not just about learning it, but it's becoming the identity, you know, like becoming a guitarist versus playing the guitar. And we identify with what we repeatedly do. So we're not going to say we're a chef if we make one good meal. If we are constantly cooking and making wonderful meals, we could say we're a chef. Or whatever the identity is, you know. So it's really about taking on the identity of what this is showing us is who we are, and rising up into it. The identity is kind of, you know, it's being presented to us. So we have this privileged information now to really see into our energetics, so we can really be it, embrace it, and become it, and step out in faith. So next week we'll be going more into the lines and putting together our plan, our business plan, going into the vocation, the culture, the keys to prosperity. A lot of this is from Gene Keys. It's really really incredible information. Putting together your own business plan. And as far as today, is there anything else you guys would like to share before we complete?
No, thank you for the opportunity to learn more.
I need to jump off. I have to take a call. Thank you.
All right. Well, we're all done anyway, so good timing.
All right. Bye.
Thanks, guys.